All right, Brett Tolman is no joke. He's our go-to guy for all of this federal investigating of President Trump, because that's what this is. He joins us now from Salt Lake City. He's a former U.S. attorney for Utah. He knows the system. So, Brad, I got some very specific questions for you, okay?
Hey, Bill, before you jump in, I just wanted to mention that Reed O'Connor and I worked together, are very close friends. I enjoyed that analysis of his decision.
Do you think that's accurate? Did I leave anything out or go in?
It's very, very accurate. You know, he is a law and order judge that follows rules, and I know he's gotten criticized for this, but the fact that he said, "Look, I'm going to issue an unconstitutional. This is unconstitutional, but I want the Supremes to actually, you know, the appellate court or the Supremes to let us know what they intend here," is actually very effective on his part.
I think he is a conservative judge. He actually issued a ruling in the transgender stuff that kept the bathrooms the same. He wouldn't change that.
Yeah, that's right. He's gotten a lot of heat. But
he took a lot of heat for that. Right.
Very bright judge. Very bright judge.
You know everybody, Brett. And now you know me. I mean, you know everybody. Okay. So here, I'm a simple man, as you know. I have simple questions for you. Why did Mueller refer the campaign finance beefs on the two women who were paid to the U.S. attorney here in Manhattan? Why did Mueller do that?
You know, it's an interesting decision on his part, but there are a couple of things that he may be wanting to do. He may be wanting to distance his attempts to try to gain intel from, you know, those individuals, and can push that into the Southern District, and a prosecution in Manhattan carries with it quite a statement. He also may not be wanting to take on something that might bog them down. I know it's taken too long, but he may be doing this based on efficiencies.
All right. Now, the Southern District here in Manhattan was wiped out. The former U.S. attorney, what's his last name?
Bahara.
Yeah, Bahara. He got fired. They all left. I mean, you would think that Trump appointed a new U.S. attorney here, that they would be more conservative, yet they seem to be very aggressive in trying to nail President Trump with campaign finance violations vis-a-vis Stormy Daniels and the other woman. So I went, gee, you know, this looks like a left-wing crew making the investigation here in Manhattan.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's interesting that there was a recusal by the new U.S. attorney. Look, if he wasn't involved or had connections to this, it's very surprising to me that he recused himself and kind of left it up to those that were in the trenches below him. If that's the case, it's certainly true that there are leanings politically, but more important, U.S. Attorney's Office just like to find crimes and prosecute them. Sometimes they get blinders on and forget that they're supposed to assess whether or not there really is a basis or merit behind the prosecution.
Yeah, it looks almost like they're enthusiastic and almost over-enthusiastic based upon what happened to John Edwards. It was the same kind of beef. He paid a lot of money, almost $900,000, to a mistress to keep quiet while he was running for president in the primaries. John Edwards, senator from North Carolina, he got acquitted.
But and he fought that, and I think you bring up the right case here. There's many that argue that Flynn did not actually plead to something that constitutes a very clear
Let me get
crime.
to Flynn in a moment, though. Let's stay on the payoffs that Cohen made to the two women. I'm sure they came under orders from Donald Trump. I'm positive they did. But I don't see a campaign finance violation if it's brand protection and Trump just said, look, just take care of it. Unless he used actual money that was donated to his campaign, which I don't believe is the case, and nobody's alleged that's the case. They just seem to be trying very hard, the Justice Department, Trump's Justice Department, they seem to be trying very hard to get Trump.
Yeah, I think it is, we're right to question these. And I get a lot of people that say, look, it's clearly a crime. And then you ask them, well, what was the crime? Because businessmen and women, even politicians, people are allowed to enter into negotiations to settle, and there's lots of reasons to settle things.
Sure.
Besides being guilty of them.
Everybody does it. Congress people
right.
do it. Corporations do it. This case, to me, is contrived. It's contrived. All right.
And it also seems a little beneath the Southern District of New York.
Why are you doing this other than to put the president out of business? All right, let's go to Flynn. Now, I said earlier in an interview with Newsmax that there's a 1 in 3 chance the judge who sentenced Flynn will throw the whole case out now that there's new information that Comey himself admitted, all right, that the FBI went over to Flynn and kind of disguised on a background chat, got him in an inconsistent statement that they used to prosecute him. And if I'm a judge and I'm seeing all of this stuff like, well, we didn't tell me you should have a lawyer. Well, it was we were just kind of guys talking. If I'm a judge, I throw it out. That case could be thrown out even after he pled guilty, correct?
Yeah, it is an uphill battle, but I think your percentages are pretty good. The fact that he asked for more information has got to be a concern.
Right.
But Bill, I go back to the fact that I sat in well over 100 interviews with FBI agents. I led some of them myself in investigating crime. I've had agents stop me and ask me to remember to advise the target that we were interviewing that if they lie to a government official, that it could be prosecuted under 1001, which is the statute. The fact that they purposefully chose not to inform Flynn that lying to the agents could result in a crime tells you that their priority was the deception that they were perpetrating. And that was, they wanted it to be a discussion where we're just friends here. We're all friends. We get in the room
they
and we just want to have a
misled
chat.
him.
That's right.
They misled him.
I never saw.
Right.
I never saw an FBI agent not give that warning.
Well, when you had Strzok and McCabe and Comey, who we all know now were invested in harming President Trump. We all know those 3 individuals, and they were the top guys, were invested in harming the president. Then it's not a surprise to me that they would use these kinds of tactics. But we'll see what the judge does. Nobody can speculate. Finally, Brett, $20 million plus Mueller has spent on this investigation of Russian collusion. $20 million, and that's got to be a low estimate. I figure it's between 25 and 30.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So, doesn't he owe the public an explanation about where he is? That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and there should be accountability. There should be transparency. I think he may very well have Russian collusion, but Russian collusion without the president, and you said at the beginning of this, did he agree to do something on behalf of that effort by Russia? If not, then this is not a conspiracy, which is the only crime you could charge, because collusion isn't. And until we hear that, where's the explanation as to where those resources have been expended?
Yeah.
Because if it's just in the prosecution of Flynn and Cohen and others, well, that could all be done by other departments.
So frustrating and confusing for the American taxpayer. Okay, look, all this money, where are you going with this? I mean, it's just on and on and on. Brett, Merry Christmas to you and your family out in Utah.
Christmas.
Utah's a great Christmas place, by the way. If you really want a good Christmas place, go to Utah. And
well, I'd love to see you out here skiing or something.
That's right. Well, you don't even have to ski. You can kind of just walk around, and it's nice.
Right.
It's a beautiful landscape. And we will see you early on in 2019, I hope. And we really appreciate your expertise all this year, Brett. It's very nice of you to help us out.
You're welcome. Looking forward to it. Thanks,
Okay.
Bill.